because Valk is one of the most commonly banned defensive operators out there.
Yeah, she's pretty good. Pretty good that she was gonna get nerfed this season, but there was the little bit of awkwardness in getting that implemented properly. So she gets to survive just another season before her outside cams, all those exterior ones, are stripped away. But I think will be a welcome change. I think it'll be very interesting. But on a map such as Clubhouse, they're pretty good. We also don't have to talk about them at all. We can talk about the bandit that Giddy is bringing to the table, because no Thatcher, no Mav, and the inclusion of the bandit could be really interesting because it's going to require Okami to take additional map control, meaning going down below and getting maybe a Zoph launcher from Bry or a well-cooked nade by J-Slime or Lava, which could be pretty interesting based on how IF are currently setting up inside of Lounge.
Right, these lounge holds often are designed to impart support the garage players, the rafters players, right? You don't want to allow anyone to just barrel their way on into garage and take control of rafters for free. So you do what you can to hold that down. Often the lounge holds have a castle involved, and that's something we don't see from IF. So it's not going to be as maybe of a firm lounge hold as we have come to expect in the past, or much of one at all. Maybe just applying enough pressure to make sure Okami is slow about their attacks through garage when they open up those bottom garage panels, that they're a bit more careful before they work their way in the map. But the first step, Connor, of any of these attacks, it's not garage. It's about getting this platform wall open. That is job number 1. And if it takes long enough, that's job number 2, 3, and 4. They've got to deal with the bandit. They got to get these batteries off the wall.
They got to get them from going in lounge, Jonah. That's what I was saying.
Yeah, they got to keep them from going in lounge, and they got to just get going.
Yeah. I mean, we could just see a full swap over to a con side hit, but with how Okami are set up, you got the Thermite as well as the Habana dual hard breach. There's going to be burning from the window with a bunch of nades to try to, bypass the ease, like by killing the bandit. Don't know what Giddy was doing. He was getting a little bit too aggressive, but now as soon as those bandit batteries are removed by the nade from the window, boom, here comes the plat wall. It's going to be opened, and now we can see steps 2 through X, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, however many steps this Okami attack wants to go for.
Right, now they can make that decision of, do they want to pivot over and go for something of a garage take, or is it going to be a construction push instead? Lava indicating, joined by a couple of players on this west side, that they do want to clear through this construction side and maybe end up going for a bit of a cash push, something that will require clearing all the way up and forcing Arrow back, but it seems that Arrow will not actually contest that aggressively. He'll actually back off himself.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, there's about 1:10 left for the defenders. And all they have to do is kill time. About 30 to 40 seconds can be killed by Vivid just on his lonesome. Then you factor in Enrio down below, potentially, with a Nitro cell. And heck, even Sub can get involved with those impact nades if he's going for plant denial. As well as, Arrow. He's getting his gun involved. He's getting his legs involved. And he's going on a flank. The drone just barely spots him out. But now he's living rent-free in the back of the minds of all the Okami attackers of, when is Arrow going to strike? He could strike at any moment, but the Nitro from below, that's going to strike right onto Exo, and down goes your Thermite.
Yeah, that's a really good nade, and that'll help IF in these closing moments. You're not going to have that, rather C4, not nade, to deny the plant anymore, but you still have 3 toxic smokes in Vivid's pocket. Arrow, great play from down below, taking down those X-Kairos pellets. The ones remaining on the wall are not going to be enough to actually get in. Actually might be thrownable, but you're not going to want to do that on the site. Now, Bry will get a good kill as he just kind of walks in behind the server rack, continuing to just spray on through and cash. And with 10 seconds left, it's working so far for this attack. Arrow going to have to be unnoticed and perfect on this flank if he wants to win this round, and looks like he was. Unnoticed, he'll take down one. The bomb will go down, however, so this one is a 2v2 in the post plant. Lava, keeping his eye on the red stairs, knows where Vivid is positioned and knows where he has to go if he wants to get this defuse off. Lava will now step up. Arrow will step up as well, taking down Rice. So now Lava has 2 angles to worry about. He'll try to back on off, and he will get taken down. Good shot from Vivid. Really good teamwork from Arrow and Vivid together to take that retake and make sure it could go down successfully.
Yeah, that right there, that's Charles Vivid, Awakening _ Vivid, Carlito, whatever he wants to call himself. That right there is a good old-fashioned smoke main that will just be so incredibly dependable that you can never hate on him. He barely makes mistakes. Jonah, we talk about the Gasher system, England system. We can talk about so many different systems, but we don't give enough love and respect to the Vivid system. The Vivid system is just good old-fashioned punch you in the mouth siege.
Well, it worked in that round, right? I mean, you punch him in the mouth with a couple of toxic smokes, then you whip out the SMG-11, you dust some people, and hey, job well done. It wasn't the cleanest defense by any stretch of the imagination. IF should have maybe had a little bit more of an edge than they held in those last few moments. But at the end of the day, all you need is one player on that diffuser to win the round, and that they did. With that, they'll be moving downstairs. Church and Arsenal, their next destination, as they whip out the Mira for the first time. Now, Clubhouse is a map, Connor, that we often, we can see the Mira ban, but it's one of the few maps that Mira is more, I think more often than not, left up, because she is less effective than a map like Bank or Chalet or Coastline, but still a nuisance and still a valuable defensive weapon in your arsenal.
Yeah, more so with, I would say with Mira, she can lock down certain areas to make it so incredibly hard to push. And Clubhouse is one of those maps that almost every single attack seems just as viable. It just comes down to how well are you going to do it. Here, IF, they don't want to have to worry about the Logi blue pressure. Or, my bad, the Moto in blue. Logi's in a whole nother area of the map. It's getting late at night here, but they don't want to have to worry about kind of the main stairs side, leaving just kitchen and dirt to truly worry about without Miras. And those two splits, depending on what Okami want to go for, they can either go for that traditional kitchen blue, depending on how these roamers are going to be as impactful. And he's already getting in a gunfight. He's actually going to get DB&O'd by Bry, who is also on his last wind of HP inside of Bar. Sabardic, he's going to take out Lava, and that means no sledge. And all that stuff I was talking about with the kitchen dirt, how this roam is going to impact the attack. Killing the sledge is pretty impactful, because now you got to think, hey, we might have to go for a Moto blue split, and boom, there's Miras.
Yeah, now you're going to have a whole heck of a problem. Not to mention, Inrio has been recovered, sneaking down the Moto hatch and back on his feet. So it's a 5v4, and one of the most essential operators, Connor, as you highlighted, gone. You don't have Lava, a player you'd also very much like to have as you get into the latter half of this round. But Inrio, with his second chance at life, he is going to play extremely aggressively. He's not going to fire just yet, but waiting for the proper opportunity, but finally botching it. Exo able to get that kill and eventually taking down the Vigil, but Inrio has made his impact felt in a big way. He's taken down Bride at very low HP. He's delayed a good bit of time off the clock, and now likely making Exo worried that there could be another aggressive defender sitting down below at any time.
Yep. Once again, these plays from IF, they're coming out strong, but Okami, they're bouncing back and pushing this a lot better than you would expect with no sledge. Bri takes down Giddy, in comes Rice with a refrag onto Vivid. But Exo, he's going to walk straight into the bomb site. Down goes Arrow. The diffuser's going down, Jonah.
Oh, Bri from above. Good coverage. J-Slime as well will make it happen as Subarctic gets shut down. So Okami brilliantly recover that one, Connor, after what looked like it would have been, all hope is lost in the round. They bring it back. They get through dirt. They get through that kitchen hatch, getting the bomb down. Just a little bit of a bonus point for them, and getting the round at the end of the day.
Yeah, that was a really unexpected result for me. And then all of a sudden, just one pick here and there, and all of a sudden, boom, Okami, they can flip the switch, and they got the kitchen hatch open a lot easier than I would have expected. So that's always a big thing, where a lot of the times from the defending, or from the attacking side, if you don't have a sledge, you can't really push back the impact triggers or just people ready to throw nitros and take out your hard breacher. But they're able to do that with relative ease, and then all the pieces, they were together. You can just drop. They had main pressure, which could, cross over to the right side and provide that long, deep angle cut that bisects box 1, box 2, box 3, mannequins, all of that area, as well as, just get somebody in dirt so they can't swing box 1 and kill your planter. Drop the diffuser. Boom. Easy. Round 1 for Okami.
Well, they'll equalize us here as IF, unsuccessful Church and Arsenal defense. They are going to pull out a site that you go to Clubhouse nowadays and you just really want to see. You never used to see bar in stock. It used to be impossible to defend, but now we've got double bar. That is what IF are bringing out, and that is what Okami will have to figure out a way to attack. Now, we've seen this site very few times across the entire competitive Siege ecosystem here in NA. We saw it in CL like twice. Wichita Wolves did it like both times.
Yep, they did it both times.
So I think we saw it a couple times in the quals, but this is a very hard site to defend, and even the teams that go here seem to still struggle locking it down.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my lord.
Oh, alrighty, Enrio. There's a ping from a drone, and now there's a dead body. Because Enrio just decided to play his life behind a bunch of soft walls, forgetting that drones exist. Well capitalized by Okami, that early round intel coming out and proving that, hey, we can get a free frag. All of a sudden, Enrio's off the board. There's no Jaeger swinging with a good gun. And it becomes just infinitely easier. Because EXO, he's already in lounge. That's almost all the map control you need. You get control of CCTV and cache. You get control of lounge. All of a sudden, you can go for a plant with this half clear. Leave it all up to Arrow, who's the only anchor on site to bear the brunt of all the Okami attackers.
Well, now Arrow is in a bit of trouble, right? Because he's got attackers bearing down from, yes, everywhere. He's got not the best weapon to contend with that, and there's not a lot of players to support him. Now, Subarctic will get in a brief skirmish upstairs on the metal balcony, and Arrow will try in the meantime to just hope that these Echo drones and the limited intel that he has is enough to keep him alive, and that's simply not the case. Without intel, he decides to tuck tail and run, and he'll get cut off and cut away by Bry at the same time. A 5v3. Big lead in this round for Okami. This site is just, it's proving as difficult as we expected. J-Slime, another kill. It's Giddy and Vivid, all that remain of this defense, and the site has been left alone. Giddy now, pushing back from Billiards, trying that maybe he can get a kill here, but he can't stop the plant. He can't kill J-Slime above, who will quickly take him down. And Vivid, who is nowhere in sight, has to get back and get crazy aggressive and pull out a miracle here. He's got one ping, but he can't quite get the headshot. Still a player alive, and then we're talking in Moto. The bomb is upstairs. Vivid has to go up the staircase. He's got 30 seconds. So find a headshot. But he has to find 4 kills, and that is simply not something he's going to be able to do at all. J-Slime has an angle down below. Lava has a nade to delay the stair push. And Vivid, the only thing he can do is just downstairs. He'll maybe sit by a dining room table here and cry a bit, because there is nothing he can do. And this bomb site, Connor, is proving as difficult as ever to defend. It's impossible.
Yep. I don't like this bomb site. It's a thumbs down emoji from me. I have ranted and raved about this bomb site and yelled about it so loud that I blue screened the audio drivers on my PC. I crashed the audio drivers, which made my PC blue screen mid VOD review stream. That's how much I don't like this bomb site. I like IF. I do not like that decision. I pray that they do not go back, or else I will start getting very, very angry. And it probably will not end well. Unlike what we saw with CCTV. It ended pretty well for IF last time around. Sure, you could argue that kind of the early and mid round once again was dominated by Okami. They were even able to get the plant down, but their post-plant positions weren't established quick enough because, Arrow destroyed all the X-Gyros pellets on the breach with a well-placed shot from the downstairs hatch, which makes things a lot more difficult, but Okami could very easily tweak maybe 1 or 2 things to make this round more successful for them.
Right, their last round on this site, it was nothing out of the ordinary in terms of their attack, right? We mentioned that flat wall is their priority. They dealt with the bandit trick by simply just killing Giddy from the CCTV window, which is, the easy way out, I suppose, but Giddy allowed that. They never really decided to push rafters and walk into the setup that we were talking a good bit about in the prep phase. Instead, they went towards that construction side, but not dealing with that player below. Arrow, like you said, Connor, that was a big problem for them, and it limited their options on the site. The only option they had at that point was to walk through the cache door, and there were multiple eyes trained on that cache door. Arrow had retaken rafters at that point because Okami had never fully secured that control. So now Okami are looking to maybe hopefully change a couple of things up here and there. Whether that's going to start at the beginning of this round or otherwise, we'll wait and see. Looks like we will have
Interesting.
not simultaneous disconnect from both teams. I don't think that's ever happened before.
I have never seen that happen before. Yes, I think we will do a rehost because, of all things considered.
So seeing IF struggle more than a map or two would be would be surprising. But I mean, they've already started off. I mean, they're down here on Clubhouse. This is Okami's map pick though, so Okami expected to start out a bit strong. But again, as we always say on a defensive side of map like Clubhouse, attack is where you really make your mark. You're gonna win this map if you attack better than your opponents.
I mean, you could almost argue and say that Clubhouse is teeter-tottering towards that neutral side.
That's true.
Three
That's true.
threes are no longer surprising to me at all, and considering the bans, you could also say sometimes certain ways it could be 4-2. Clubhouse is just one of those maps that the bans dictate it so much that it's just a weird place to try to call defender attacker sided. It's just one of those weird ones, but you can also say that IF should have been able to close out that second round, that basement defense where you first pick the sledge and you got Mira's up. I would have liked to see them kind of confirm a good kill, and then they decided to do a little bit of trolling and go to bar. So
Hey, you gotta try it out, and the element of surprise is never something to be overlooked, right? It is still important to understand that you go to an unusual bomb site and attacking teams may have a problem attacking it. But as we've learned with the double bar is that even if attacking teams have never attacked it in their life, they still manage to get it done because it is not hard. It's not hard to do at all. So
it is not rocket surgery by any means.
rocket surgery, yes, of course. It's not that. Well, now that we are actually back in the game, we can dive into this CCTV and cash defense that IF are now gifting us. And Arrow is going to somehow escape with his life.
What?
So that wall got sledgehammered open in front of his eyes. Lava somehow didn't get that kill.
I'm just as perplexed as you. And Arrow gets a kill onto J Slime that he is on borrowed time. He got a kill on borrowed time. Lava's gonna be kicking himself about that. And if J Slimmy Kitty isn't just absolutely furious when he watches this VOD, I will be perplexed. But now that borrowed time, it's gone. Arrow knew that he should have been dead, so he's just getting a little bit aggressive. It came all the way down the red stairs. Unfortunately, he ran right into Bry. He's been having quite a good showing on the zone.
Yeah, already opening things up after the rehost with a kill, staying loose,
I
staying frag
think he had
hungry.
5 or 6 kills pre-rehost as well.
Yeah, impressive stuff from him. And he'll be looking to continue that. He's still alive in this round. 90 seconds to go. Still a lot of this round left to be played. And Okami, interestingly enough, are quite spread out right now. Bry is now heading all the way out to the grapes, up to the warehouse, where he will maintain a very long angle over towards the site, while the 3 of his teammates work their way in from construction. Lava, currently in logistics, will now join his teammates of both Exo and Rice in contesting that position. And because Arrow has been dealt with, there's no longer a player who can sneak down below and take care of those X-Kairos pellets once they get on the wall. But one step has to happen before then. There's a bandit battery that needs to be taken care of, and we're seeing 2 nades get thrown in, and I believe not focused on that bandit battery. Is that wall still electrified? It might be, because Vivid's going to take down Rice, who just walks in the door. That wall, we're now confirming, has been dealt with. Okay, so that... Oh, no, Rice walked in the door, sacrificed his life for the bandit battery, I think.
You gotta respect that. That's mind over body, because bodies are about to start dropping. A rotation up red as Toxic Babes are getting thrown towards the window. Exo, he's the one with the diffuser, and he's locked up on CC window, trying to go for this weird plant, but he's gonna get taken out nonetheless. Giddy is able to fell Bry. Lava gets the refrag, but it's a 3v1 situation. He doesn't have any left in the tank. Vivid's gonna clean it up for back-to-back victories on this CCTV defense. You gotta say,
from IF.
the stall was real from Okami, but well played by IF.
IF didn't, again, do anything too crazy. The one crazy part of that round was the very beginning, that Arrow was able to escape alive. Not only that, but get a kill onto J-Slime. That in itself delayed the attack a good 30 seconds, because J-Slime, whose job it would have been to take care of those bandit batteries and contest heavily onto Giddy, onto the bandit, and all those players running around the site, was unable to do so because Arrow just got aggressive and just collected that kill. Bry was able to get it back and was eventually able to reposition and maybe prove effective from the long angle, but that is one decision that maybe Okami would want back. Instead of sending Bry all the way out to play for that long angle where Bry couldn't do anything to actually support the team, maybe you decide to either rotate somebody else to Bry's position on that platform wall to support it, or move Bry around to the construction side. So some other type of pressure, not to basically isolate one player away from the rest. In any case, we can speculate all day. We're actually going to be heading back to one of the sites we've already speculated about. It is great to see gym and bedroom back here, and IF, they're not going downstairs to church as they've already lost it. They're not going to touch bar, thank God. They're going to go to gym and bedroom for the next round.
Yeah, and gym is arguably, I would go out on a limb and say it's the site most changed by the presence of Mira, because it makes that Logi cross so much more lethal, and it makes pushing the breach pretty terrifying with the bathroom Mira, which a lot of these holes, they're opened up regardless for rotation ways, but all of a sudden, when you can rotate off, tuck your tail between your legs and run away, scamper, scurry over towards safety, you can just turn around and look at a Mira window, shoot back. It's a lot better, but as the Logi hatch is already opened, the one thing that is really susceptible to being naded would be that Logi Mira, which if Lava was the one up there, he could call for some burn, because I think there's only a single ADS, and then boom, Arrow's dead. That wouldn't be a fun way to go out.
Yeah, you can see the one ADS there tucked along that wall. So Arrow, he's trying to delay that nade by just playing aggressively, right? We saw him right on that hatch early on and just try to get a frag, just get aggressive and maybe take out the sledge if possible. But hey, Lava's over on the other side of the map right now. J-Slime is as well. We're seeing a pretty full cache clear coming through from Okami. And, well, IF are going to let them do that. No heavy cache extension for them. Only a slight construction extension, but not a heavy construction extension either. No, like, deployable shield, I don't think, in the middle of the room like we might see normally. It's just going to be the mirror window holding down construction for as long as possible.
Yeah, there's actually a shield on the bed, which makes it really hard to get a lot of the angles from the master windows, which is where J-Slime is currently rotating over towards. And it makes certain positions like bathroom that much more fortified. But then the complete opposite side of bathroom is Inrio on the deep roam. He's towards stock, and if these con players eventually push up, like Lava is trying to do right now, they get shot from a pretty cheeky angle. I like the innovation right there from the IF defenders, as they're just making sure Okami don't really have any great ways to enter in, but will not be cut off from both smokes, nitros, anything.
Ooh, Arrow from above. We'll take a quick engagement with Bry down below. Inrio as well, trying to play vertical, just trying to get as much impact felt onto these Okami attackers as they bear on this side as possible. But these mirror windows are still proving pivotal positions to hold, and Okami have been unable to deal with them so far. As I say that, Lava will drop down, shut down one, getting two, trading with Giddy 1-for-1. Subarctic will respond, though, using that other mirror window and doing so perfectly. Not only that, moving into that long haul to make his impact felt elsewhere. An even 3v3, but Diffuser has been dropped, and Inrio, he's gone unnoticed. He'll collect one. J-Slime jumping through the window, could recover this, but no, shut down by Subarctic at the last second. Between him and Inrio, they'll down the last two players, and IF, they will go to gym and bedroom, and they will succeed on gym and bedroom. That's two successful defensive attempts in a row.
Yeah, these last second executes from Okami, they're not doing too well against IF, where that's kind of where IF thrives, is in that organized chaos. That final 20 seconds, that final red zone as the clock changes colors and everybody kind of goes crazy because you don't know what's going on. You aren't necessarily going to check corners as close as you would like when you're entering in the bomb site, because every second matters. That's where the IF defenses thrive. And for Okami, the success that we saw in their attacks, or when they were able to execute a lot earlier on their basement push, they were executing at like 55 seconds. That's nowhere near the red zone. That's where IF got caught off guard. They were able to just flood the site, and they had the pieces earlier on that gym defense. I think that they could have flooded around 50 seconds once again, but they just sat a little bit too passive. They weren't quite ready kind of mentally. They're physically there. They had the map control they needed. They had the breaches open. They had the pathway into Logi, but they just waited just that little bit too long. And the flank from Enrio was absolutely perfect. The Jaeger, the deep roam, getting all the way through cash was beautiful.
10 seconds left before
Well, beautiful it would be as well for IF if they are able to make a pretty impressive comeback, take 3 rounds in a row, and finish off with a 4-2 defensive half. That would be quite a turn of events since they were down 1-2, halfway through this half. Okami, of course, they'd like to keep things even. They'd like to get this third round and send us into their defensive side all evened up, because that is generally a pretty comfortable place to be. It would, not, of course, secure anything. This map, like you said, Connor, has been going back and forth. Even split is pretty common, but it would definitely give Okami a bit of maybe a little bit more calm than they would have otherwise. But for now, they've still got one more attacking round to get done with, and they've still got another basement site to approach. Last time, despite losing lava and the sledge early, they were still able to make a dirt and blue push work. Question is, what can they do this time with lava on the board with 2:15 to play? Right now, the focus will be on hunting down these roamers. That's what J-Slime is looking to do next.
Yeah, the Jackal. It makes it pretty easy to do so, just scan some feet, sniff the ground, and boom, you get a red ping on exactly where one of the players is. Most likely going to be tracking down Enrio first, but Arrow, he's here for that supplemented help. And Sabartic, he's actually dropping too. They're going to pinch out this player. They're going to die anyways? Okay. And I think J-Slime is going to pick up another kill, but nope, it's just absolutely rabid dogs from the side of IF. 3 people swinging him in unison, going for the 1-for-1 trade. Not horrible, but Giddy's going to come up and get 2. Goodbye, Lava and Bry. And Okami looks in shambles.
Yeah, and a 2v3 with not a lot of options now. They're going to have to find, well, first Enrio, and then find a way to bring this round back. Well, step 1, hey, done. They identified Enrio's position. He was pinged, he just didn't know it, and Rice will take him out decisively. Rice and Exo, they haven't been able to do much since the rehost, so now they're going to have to step up and get some kills. Both of them get some kills if they want to find some success here, because when they get to the site, they've got a whole world of trouble waiting for them. There are 2 mirror windows. There are 2 C4s. There are 2 basically full health defenders with Kona stations to use at their fingertips. There goes Giddy on the close angles, assisted by his teammate making the call, and he'll get 1 kill. Rice now will respond, but now is cut down to 1 HP, and all Vivid has to do is back off and play for the late C4, and he knows it. Rice will get some health back from the Kona station. He'll now actually sneak around behind, but Vivid, he got the sound call. He got a call from his teammate, so he'll swing right around, and the Vector will do what it does best. It will burn through Rice's last bit of HP, and it will secure the 4-2 half for IF.
I gotta say, I think Giddy was robbed with the shotgun. Probably didn't believe in it enough, but yep. Right on cue. I'm gonna need someone to explain that shotgun, because he crammed that barrel right down Habana's throat, pulled the trigger, and the game said no. That's just how it goes sometimes. But from IF, starting off with a win and then 2 quick losses as Okami surged into the lead, they bounced back and got a 4-2 split on what was looking like a pretty attacker-sided clubhouse. Potentially ends up being the default defender split, where Okami, they were able to get a lot of pressure in the early round and looking good all the way to the transitionary period when they went for their executes. A lot of the time, they weren't quite ready to commit, and IF capitalized on that fully. We just also saw them try to circumvent that with a lot quicker of a clear, but IF, they just bounced back. They had the read on what Okami wanted to do. They punished them.
Well, thinking back to Okami's previous game last week, it was against Karn & Co. And the only map they were able to secure was the first map. They took it in overtime because Karn & Co. couldn't close it out, winning that one 8-6. And then only getting 5 rounds between the next 2 maps. I bring that up because, I mean, to say that Okami is a team that, they have it in them to get this win. They made an impressive comeback on that first map against Karn & Co., but also to stress the importance of the first map for Okami. They need this first map, and they need to start off strong. Even starting off strong against Karn & Co. wasn't enough to get them over the edge, so they definitely need to do it here, especially on their own map pick, if they want to have any shot of, taking this to a potential 3-map series, or winning it out in 2 maybe. But if they want to have any shot of making it to that decider map, they've got to start on their own map pick, and they've got to do it soon. They're down 2 rounds.
Yeah, going down 2 rounds is not very fun, but at least they have the defensive side, which for IF was definitely their preferred, because, they they picked it. So as things stand, we could see this go into overtime, but it's going to be up to IF to really set the tempo on how fast they're going to want to play these clubhouse attacks. We've seen them be super, super slow and super methodical, almost to a flaw. We've also seen them speed things up recently. A lot in SI quals, they were moving with some purpose, but considering there's already a minute down, Giddy's not necessarily getting that aggro. They're kind of only putting pressure over towards, okay. As I said, Giddy's not getting aggro. He's just way smarter than me and cuts down Exotor Life 3. All of his friends are dead, including himself. Down goes the Jaeger. He falls to 0-4. It's pretty unfortunate because he was not doing too... He was doing pretty decent before the rehost.
Where did Exo come from? I'm not...
Main stairs.
Main stairs. Okay, so he walked all the way down the main stairs.
Walked all the way down main stairs.
Giddy was waiting for him. So
Yes,
sometimes
he
that
was.
passivity pays off, right? I mean, just sitting around and waiting for opportunities. Every once in a while, you will get
That's a
those
Pedro
opportunities.
Fernandez call. Shout out to their coach.
Opportunity, it came, and they took advantage. Lava's also been absolutely lit up here, and that's not gonna do him any favors as he gets into the latter half of this round. But Bry will support him beautifully, getting a kill onto Vivid and shutting down what could have been a disastrous crossfire for those two defenders. Because now you've got the rest of this team gearing up on this construction side. Inrio will still sit all the way back, holding a long angle, much like we saw Bry do several rounds ago. But no kills we found for him just yet. Since that opening pick, IF have been relatively quiet.
Yep, I mean, you lose Vivid, but being an IGL that already opened up the wall, not the worst thing in the world, but they are going to have to reclaim that diffuser outside of Khan, which it definitely will be because Giddy is in the close vicinity. A lot of stock is going to be put into, I would almost say, Inrio. He's going to have to get a frag as he tries to push up red. Does he know that J Slime is right next to him? Seemingly not, and that's going to be a well-timed flank. He doesn't get the confirm on the kill, meaning that Inrio could be brought back. A Subarctic with the headshot. He cannot. Giddy trying to land anything. Will be a couple of shots back onto J Slime, but look at the time. There's only 5 seconds. Essentially a 1v3. It's not looking too good for investigation file as they run out of time. Clock struck midnight.
Yeah, it's as simple as that. Running out of time. And you highlighted the flank from J-Slime. I think I'll reiterate that point because even though he wasn't able to finish off that kill, in that moment, that was enough to delay, 5-10 seconds? Because you've downed a player who was essential in being the forefront of that push up the red stairs, and now you not only lost that player, but you got to take the time to pick him back up, which is a terrible waste of time if you're on the attack. And yeah, that was a little bit of a troubling attack overall from IF. Yeah. Aside from the start where Giddy got a kill, they fell into the old IF problem habit of doing nothing, of just doing nothing at all.
Doing a whole lot of nothing.
Right, and even though that very whole lot of nothing got them a kill, it didn't get them any more kills after that. After one defender is gone, that's just going to encourage the rest of them to just sit around and just play more passively, not run around and expose themselves to angles. And as soon as Okami realized that, as they probably realize now, they are going to play less and less aggressive, and they're going to force IF to do what IF don't like to do, and that is attack, move around, actually get steps done.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing about IF are they're a team that if you set up mini games as a defender, it's like they can't control themselves. They have to clear it. They have to solve the game. They cannot leave anything unturned, and it's almost like I don't necessarily want to say like ADHD, like you got to get everything done, but it is kind of, they can get hyper fixated on things. And when you throw a bunch of random things around, like even though there was a there was a garage hold, we even saw them on a breach con split, like a plat con split attack. They were still trying to clear garage too. You can remove that. You don't necessarily need to push into it. You don't need to clear every bit of the map, or else you're gonna be struggling. You're gonna need to go quicker. You're gonna ramp up the aggression. It seems like maybe IF have already figured that one out. Already got Giddy inside a bar, which is good. You have garage control and flank watch to make sure that none of these Okami defenders get some bright ideas to push up. Enrio, he's gonna be the one making sure that that doesn't happen, as Vivid might be pop flashing in a teammate, but he's gonna pop up and get traded out immediately. You lost your thermite.
Yeah, losing the thermite here, it's not too bad. You've got the Habana, and you've only got a couple of hatches to deal with. And there's 2 impacts But if my math is correct, Arrow should be okay, right? I mean, he'll expend 2 more, then he'll have 6 left. Yeah, he should be fine in getting all these hatches open, but now it puts even more stock in Arrow's life, right? You just really can't have him dying, and you got to make sure all of these pellets are used as effective as possible because you don't have that thermite like you said. You don't have Vivid anymore. So Arrow's going to have to pull the weight of the hard breach. And that's going to take a bit of time. He'll now have to focus on getting this impact trick dealt with, which will take a moment. Exo will now fall back, though. So the second batch of pellets should go down unimpeded.
Yeah. And as soon as the vertical pressure is applied as well, it's not going to be a worth it task for Exo to try to get that hatch open. But he also just runs right in front of Enrio and somehow doesn't die. Okay, it was just delayed. It was a mark for death. And his head will be cut off by the LMGE that is locking down the blue area. Man advantage, it just swung into the favor of the IF attackers who, with 58 seconds left, they have every piece to go for whatever take they want to. And they're actually going to commit to it, Jonah.
Yeah, here it comes. Lava will get one, and it'll be an even 3v3 for this execute, but Arrow, he'll just go for it. C4 is going to come in, no doubt, so Arrow's going to be forced to relocate, and he'll collect the kill before that C4 can fly over and miss him. He'll be down in the process, though, as he takes a gunfight with an unlucky defender. But now, with site control, IF, they not only have site control, but they've got a man advantage. In Rio, a triple kill on the round. Lava, last player standing, already expended this C4. It is going to be a very challenging retake for Lava. Going to have to let that Vector sing and going to have to find a way to take down Inrio, who is holding this angle. Arrow trying to get the coverage, but hey, the bomb's already down. And so, Lava's going to have to get a move on here. Inrio now actually going to aggress and just try to take this fight early, maybe catch Lava off guard. That'll work. Risky, but it'll work, and IF will take the round.
Yeah, that right there has been the fundamental change in IF as a week 1 stage 3 roster to now, where before they would have executed at 20 seconds, and if a single thing went wrong, they lose the round. Because that's just the nature of executing late. Here, their coverage and everything wasn't absolutely perfect, but when you execute at 50 seconds, you can have a little bit of a trip up and you can still have enough time on the back end to recover. Sure, Arrow's like, yeah, I'm not going to be able to get this plant down. He gets a kill as opposed to just going down for nothing. Had that been with 10 seconds left, diffuser's gone, all of a sudden all of the Okami players can just run away and they just win that round. But instead, you have enough time to take a deep breath, recover. You can send somebody through blue to hold cuts as a player drops, gets the res off, gets the plant. Boom, you're golden.
Well, Okami, after a less than golden successful round, or less than golden round, I don't know what I was going for there, we'll now move on and try to do it again here on basement. Always a risk to go to the same site twice, much like IF on their defensive half, especially when you've got a very viable gym and bedroom bomb site on the board. But Okami, I think I know where their head's at, and they're probably thinking, IF struggle with the time delay, gym and bedroom, you can attack it pretty fast if you know what you're doing. Maybe we try to exploit the clock a little bit more and exploit, as you said, Connor, those mini games on this site and try to remedy some of the mistakes they had in the last round. I wouldn't blame them if that's their thought process. I think there is some merit to that. They've just got to execute it. They've got to do it right. Because if Exo is going to play in secret again, and you're not going to have Bry upstairs, you're not going to go for an, quote-unquote SSG style roam, what are the adjustments you're really going to make? Are you going to allow IF to clear into the building and just get on-site pressure going within 45 seconds yet again? By all indications, that's exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, and considering a lot of we're looking at our observers saying, hey, look, this hatch is soft. Why? Why is it soft? There's 2 reinforcements. Somebody was checking Twitter. They were scrolling on their phone instead of reinforcing in the prep phase. That's what I'm feeling happen. But a lot of map control is already there for IF. And instead of, just guiding the bowl of the IF attack around by just flashing red here, you just have a red target painted on the bomb site that their attention is just lurched onto. That's exactly what they're going for. You already see the vertical pressure. You're already seeing a whole lot of clear. There's not really any flank potential because IF have that all locked down. And for Okami, they're fish inside a barrel. One of their nitros already extended. Make that 2 with no smoke canisters. interesting choices so far, because if you're going to go for the full stall kind of thing, you would want to smoke nitros and maybe even the chonka, considering how IF have shown an affinity towards wanting to execute just that little bit earlier. Take what you take what you give them and make the most out of it.
Well, they haven't made the most of this utility. These nitro cells, three of them have been burned. Unless there's one pre-placed, and it's possible that Exo still has his place somewhere, but I know for a fact at least two of them have been exploded. There's another one, and the final one now gone. All before the plant has even been attempted. Not what Okami are looking to do, but still, IF have a job to get done, and they're going to start with a great kill onto J-Slime. Good work from Subarctic. Great coordination with that drone, and they'll get that opening pick. Now they've got to find some more. It'll be Giddy on the hatch looking for a couple of kills. He'll get slammed by lava. Good shot all the way from Church, but now losing the mirror window. Oh, no. Bry steps up from Moto and shuts that down. That could be big, and that could delay the IF push, but it's not going to delay the plant. And look at this. There are no C4s or any plant denial to deny Vivid. Somebody has to swing on him, and Rice, who tries, gets shut down by Arrow. Great coverage from Arrow on the long angle. That's a double kill for him. It's Lava and Exo who have to step up. Vivid says no to one of them, and once again, it is all on Lava's shoulders. He'll get one. Subarctic is down, so it's a 1v2, but Inrio from downtown will take Lava away. And that is another IF attack. Okami, the C4s, wasting it. It killed him. It really did.
It really did. Because you had one job. You have one job on basement. Make sure that they can't get a default plant. Use your nitros effectively. Make things more difficult. Instead, you give all of IF... You give IF every key. You give them the, like the janitors when they walk around, they have a giant key ring.
Oh,
you gave them, they handed that to IF as the
True.
defenders. They are the wardens of this clubhouse. They're supposed to be locking it down. They handed the keys to IF and said, here you go. We're going to sit in this small room with a bunch of nitros to try to stop you from planting. And you're like, okay, this could be fun. This could be interesting. But instead, IF, they didn't have to worry about nitros because Okami, they left him at the door. They had to go through security or something. I don't know. They left him there. And they forgot. They forgot to bring their nitros. They wasted all of them. And they can't do the very thing they're supposed to do. Stop a default plant, because all you need is the hatch open, somebody on main, somebody down dirt. And you can get a plant off on basement. That's only 3 people. Everybody else on IF, those other 2, they're extras. They're floaters. They can do whatever they want. And they just absolutely picked apart Okami.
I actually love that comparison, like that janitor keyring. And it really rings true, because this was the round where they didn't even reinforce the Moto hatch, where they didn't roam at all. And within 45 seconds, there was a breaching hammer smacking the floor and opening up on the site. Yep. It was like they opened the door to the timing, to the Moto hatch, quite literally, and then to the plant, because they just couldn't get the C4. So I like where you're going with that one. But IF... only place they're going is running away with Okami's map pick. It's 6-3. They have a 3-round margin, and attacking on Clubhouse hasn't proven any more difficult than defending for them. They've won basement twice. Of course, they couldn't win cash and CCTV, and that's where Okami will be headed to now. Actually, no, they've adjusted and headed towards Gym at the last moment. But it's not going to be easy, especially if you're throwing away your life. At this point in the round, Exo is once again going to play a bit too aggressive for his own good. He is 0-6 at the moment, and unless he can get recovered, which he should be able to be recovered.
I don't know about that one.
Because Giddy is coming down and trying to lock off the angle. It's true. And yes, he is. Giddy read into that perfectly. Connor, you read into that perfectly, because Giddy knew he was down, so he came in to shut down the player trying to pick him up, and here comes Subarctic. He knows where one player is. Pre-fire around the corner. Bry says goodnight. Now J-Slime will have some sort of response, but Subarctic will get another kill. It is J-Slime and Rice, the only defenders left for Okami to take their map pick if they want any chance at all.
Yep, this is very, very unfortunate, because Exo, post rehost, is James Bond 007. Really unfortunate for him, but now it's just Rice. And he has to get more kills in this single round than he has since the rehost. And it's a daunting task. The breach is already opened. IF know that, hey, we have almost 2 minutes to work with a +3 man advantage. we're going to drone out Rice. We're going to find his position. We're going to trade out. We're going to play properly. Or they might throw.
Ooh. Okay, that's a good jump out. Unfortunately for Rice, though, he lost most of his HP in that engagement, and that is not something he could have afforded at this point in the round. All Vivid has to do is one bullet to the shoulder, and that's all he will do. And that is enough for Okami to lose their own map pick, for that to be snatched right out of their arms by a pretty well-coordinated IF. And if you're on Cafe and you're defending and Mira is unbanned, you are going to run that Mira almost every single time.
Yeah, that is, I was about to say a very interesting point and immediately point towards the fact that Okami doesn't have a Mira, but they swapped. They swapped, so good on them. Starting on the 3rd floor, you can really just see the entirety of the floor being opened up to long angles. You can open up all the freezer, slap a Mira on the white rotate that you would typically see, and then one over towards the cocktail single wall, and then boom, the entire site and the entire top floor is all of a sudden like a 2-lane Call of Duty map.
True. Yeah, good way of putting it. Those mirror windows are ridiculous, and those lanes with those mirror windows are even more painful. And that is something that often takes a Cafe and turns it into something that might be a little bit more defensive-sided. Who knows? It really does always fall on the shoulders of these attacking teams, and are they teams that are good with dealing with those lanes, those windows, those pressure points, or are they a team that really prefers to attack a lot more of a simpler strategy and doesn't, well, maybe they do fold under the pressure when they see those black mirrors standing back at them. The mirror window in bathroom is always something that is highly disputed because some call it useless, others call it important, and some don't even care. And what it really is, it comes down to, are you going to apply pressure towards that Whitehall rappel window? Are you going to have someone downstairs, like Rice in this case, who may go down and peek that door right there to stop people from rappelling on that window? Because if you don't, then that mirror window, they can just shoot it open and it's useless.
Completely useless. But as well, you do sometimes see teams open that up as head holes. So not necessarily the worst thing in the world. Is that a mute jammed window? Yes, it is. So unfortunately, Inrio cannot burn the barricade with his drone, which is what he was wanting to do because, you know, he's Yana, he gets infinite ones. So what's one drone when you can just get rid of an Aruni? But now, because of no Wamai, the Jaeger's being placed elsewhere and burned accordingly. Down goes your pixel shield, and Bry, the only kind of thing he can do to stop them from taking pixel is sit on a Mira that can be shot from outside.
Well, the piano pressure's still building now from IF, but they've yet to get really into the building here. And considering the 90-second mark has come and gone, it is not usually a good place to be. They're finally going to put somebody on that Whitehall rappel, so Giddy will finally be able to challenge the bathroom player. He'll have a nade or two cooked up, but there's a C4 to greet him. Beautiful throw from J Slime. Giddy says goodbye, and the 2 nades that he had in his pocket will say goodbye as well. Only 1 nade remains, or actually 3, because you've got Subarctic as well, who's sneaking there at the bottom of the leaderboard on the Finca. But you've got Inrio with the other one in pocket, who will take up the very same position on the window, looking to maybe battle back.
You actually can't shoot that one if it's tucked deep left, but Inrio gets stuck with a Semtex and trades himself out with a quite literal refrag grenade. But it's a 4v3. Not necessarily the worst position in the world from IF, but they've seen better days.
Oh.
Lava hits the 180. Goodbye to Subarctic. That's going in a highlight reel for sure. So he's trying to get more kills. Vivid swinging down White. He's going to take down Brian J Slime. He's flanking the other which way through the Cigar Humidor. Never mind. He's just going to sit over by Long Bar as everybody in Okami, they're playing passive. They're playing trained. They know that IF have to push right into them, and that's what J Slime's going to learn the hard way. Vivid and Arrow, they're still left up. There's only 7 seconds left on the clock. Vivid's taking a whole lot of damage. Make that all of his HP as Lava goes for 3 and Lava goes for 4. Okami, they stalled out IF pretty well and reaped the benefits.
That was perfectly executed by Okami. And I pose the question, Is IF going to be an attacking team that knows how to deal with a Mira and do it quickly? And we got our answer. And it was a big fat no. They could not deal with the mirror window in the bathroom. And I mean, eventually they put somebody on the window, but they did it 90 seconds into the round. Are you kidding me? Like, you gotta do that sooner. If you know the mirror window's there and you know what you have to do to stop it, at the very least, get somebody challenging that as soon as you safely can. And try not to get nitro celled while you're at it. 2 players died on the very same position. And that can be all credited to a mirror window because they wouldn't be there unless they had to. And they had to because the mirror window was sitting in bathroom. So it is as simple as that. It is as well played as that from Okami, and sometimes for IF. Connor, you mentioned they get tunnel vision sometimes. And I think this was another example. They found a mini game. They engaged with that mini game a little bit later than they should have, and they never really played the game and won it. They lost the mini game.
They lost all their tokens on skee ball and didn't get to play any of the fun ones. It's unfortunate.
What are the fun ones?
I don't know. There's a bunch of them.
There's a bunch of them. I feel like skee ball is a fun one. Is it not?
Skee ball. I don't know. When's the last time you're like, man, I really want to play skee ball?
I don't think ever in my life.
Exactly.
That's fair.
It's like, when was the last time you purposely went out to go get vanilla ice cream? Like, it's good. Like, you never, like, crave vanilla ice cream. It's like, you kind of just have it.
Right, you can crave the better ice cream.
Yeah, you crave, like, oh, yeah, let's get some Rocky Road going. Let's get some cookie dough. Let's get something fun. But skee ball? You're not going to complain because you're still playing skee ball. But you're not going to be like, man, I just had a really fun skee ball game today.
I'm going to go play some skee ball.
Yeah, you're not waking up just excited to go to Dave and Buster's because you're going to get to play skee ball. But enough about that. Let's talk about the actual game, John, before we get too off.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good idea. It's a good idea. In the actual game, we've got another standard approach from IF entering through piano. But they don't have to work their way all the way to kitchen, right? We're not going to see that just yet from Okami. Instead, it is going to be a reading hole. A reading in dining, a reading in fireplace hall hole. So, theoretically, IF don't have the entire map to clear out, but they still have a petulant top floor to defense, and they've got some mirror windows to encounter, and as we've found out, that is not easy to do.
Yeah, definitely not. But, I mean, Enrio, he's already inside. Could just drop and go into sight if he wanted to create some chaos, but probably will not be doing so, as they're going to need his Yanas, they're going to need his nades, they're going to need a whole lot of stuff to burn the maze and labyrinth of utility that Okami has set up on this top floor. They're at the mirror windows. Those nice long angles. They've also got the mirror just sitting there, taking it from Giddy. There will be a refrag, but you lose a nitro cell, which could be quite impactful. Just as impactful as we're going to see right now. A sub is going to fall to one. J-Slime, in the meantime, he gets refragged by Vivid. It's just been punch for punch, blow for blow. But right now, Enrio with the flank down white, he's making sure IF comes out on top.
Yeah, it's just Exo left alone now that Enrio goes for 2, and he's going to have to find something of a retake here, but he's got 2 players bearing down at him from all sides, and he cannot do what Enrio did just a moment ago. He'll take down Enrio, but he cannot get the second. Well played there from IF on that attack. It was an impressively fast clear of Cocktail. Not something I expected from IF, considering what they struggle with and their struggles in the previous round, but learning from their mistakes, making the proper adjustments, and moving quick enough to catch Okami off guard. And as we saw Exo, he was so surprised that he wasn't anywhere close to the site itself. So by the time IF took that control and just stormed into the site, he was caught storming back down the red hall, trying to get something back when really the control had already been sacrificed.
Yeah, pretty much there were 3 kills on white stairs of Okami players not looking at their assailants. That's unfortunate. That is very, very unfortunate. Or well crafted if you're IF, applying the good old phantom pressure towards Cocktail, really kind of sectoring in the attention of the Okami defenders to, yes, this is the more pressing issue, as all of a sudden Enrio just walks up and scoops his freebies. Well played on Okami, or pardon me, on IF to find Okami's flaws. But they're going to be running it back turbo style. They want the exact same defense that they feel like might have gone just a little bit better if they were looking at the gunfights that were coming towards them.
Well, we're actually going to be going to the same bomb site again here, Connor, which
Running it back turbo style.
yeah. And I don't know how I feel about that, per usual. When there's a kitchen site that is very viable, with a kitchen site that loves to waste time, and I have struggled with the clock. But Okami seemed to know what they did wrong. Maybe that's just look towards your assailant, like you said. That's half the battle. You can't win a gunfight if you don't even take the gunfight, and you let your opponent just take it to you instead. So we'll see how IF adjusts. I suspect Lava won't be playing, as still in the hallway by the white stairs there. It is a very strong position, that particular mirror window, if you see a backsided take, if you see a take geared up towards the fireplace hall from train instead of a cocktail top-down approach, which we have seen, and we see how powerful Lava's position can be. But for now, that may not be the focus, because once again, IF will enter from above, and they're not going to indicate which execute they're going to do just yet. We'll learn in a moment when they either push out these players in cocktail or not.
Yeah, we saw last time it was just a single person pushing down White Hallway, then the rest of IF butchering through their way through cocktail and, MB1, MB2, all of those fun areas. But drones coming out from IF, they're going to try to pinpoint the exact locations of the Okami defenders, making sure that nothing has changed and they can feel just as confident pushing through every which way. Sabartik, he's not going to try to get Nitro this time pushing down Long Bar. He wants to rotate over towards the windows and maybe use a nade to get a cheeky kill. He leaves J-Slime on 1 HP. Don't know how that didn't get a kill, but J-Slime, he's going to be up and moving around. Another nade comes in, not going to connect. That's a really bad habit that a lot of nades players do, is that they just nade the same thing twice. But you would have gotten the kill the first time if you did it.
With just about a minute to play and all 10 players left in this lobby, we've got a very different progression compared to the previous round. Okami, they have certainly learned from these mistakes, and they are not giving IF any chance at a gunfight. The first gunfight now will happen. As I say that, Bry will get spotted out by a drone. He'll look to make a quick escape. The only thing he'll escape is, the ability to get back to the bomb site. He'll fall right into his grave. And so it's going to be a 5v4 with IF with the advantage, but still with the time dwindling away and with still 4 Okami defenders very much a factor. This one is not over yet by any stretch of the imagination, because Exo still in play. Still a C4 in the hands of Rice, and still Lava potentially to work a flank at any given moment. Vivid, however, he doesn't seem to mind. A double kill is found from him. Here comes perfect C4. Goodbye to one player. That's going to be no more Vivid. No more Arrow as Exo gets that one in 14 seconds. The diffuser has to be recovered by Subarctic, and Inrio has to make another big play. They don't know where Rice is coming from, though. He'll drop down top ropes. Got him with a knife. Now he has to find one more. He'll spray towards the diffuser, but he can't quite get it. Oh no. Whips out the shotgun, but this just became quite problematic. It's Subarctic in a 1v2. His eyes on the diffuser, and all he has to sit is technically just by this snow door. He knows where one player is, just got to hold that left click, but can't quite get it. It's a quad kill for Rice. Great top floor retake, great knife kill, putting Okami on his back, and they'll take the round.
Yeah, you could see the panic in Rice's entire body as he was just trying to do his best, but he still did just about as good as he could. Well played from Okami, where they're doing a great job at stopping the late round pushes of IF. That Nitro cell, that lineup was clean. The kind of ring around the rosy action that we saw with the flank up of White to retake top floor, and then realizing, hey, there's nobody else up here. I should probably go down and try to help out my team, get even more kills. And then the kind of 1-2 swinging revolving door that we saw over towards Reading. Well played by Okami as defense as a whole. For IF, we saw that their attack worked once, then they stopped doing it. There was not any white pressure coming through. There was less Windows control on the white side to remove a lot of those players. Okami, they peeled off a lot earlier, and IF didn't quite seem to get the memo as their attack was still slow, their execute was late, and overall fell flat.
Well, those adjustments giving Okami the win will actually now enable them to head back up to the site that they were able to win before. They hold a 2-1 lead, and if they can just put together the same very successful defense of the first round, they could hold a 3-1 lead in no time. It's going to all come down to the mirror windows, and once again, if IF can deal with them at all. When you have these mirrors in play, There's one really easy solution that comes to mind, Connor, and that is something that teams just seem to hate with a passion. Maybe even saying the word may anger them. A cocktail execute. Ever heard of that? You know where these windows aren't facing? Cocktail. You know where most of the defense doesn't face? Cocktail. You know where most of the defense sits lying in wait, waiting to be naded from below? Cocktail. Hey, crazy. You should push from there. You don't have a buck, though. And without an Ash, without even a Zofia, I don't think we're going to be seeing that from IF at all. They're going to have different intentions, but man, I wish they did.
Yeah, I like cocktail takes. They are a little bit more finicky
Mhm.
and more dependent on how blessed of a buck player you have, or more so how skilled. So for IF, they have players that can play buck. We've seen Enrio play it. We've seen Subarctic play it. We've seen Giddy play it. Everybody's kind of picked up buck every once in a while. So stuff isn't necessarily the worst in the world. But hey, they're just not comfortable. They want to go for the cocktail take. They want to push into the Miras, and it's been successful once, I guess, technically. It's technically been successful on one of their reading attacks, but the last time that they were upstairs on the 3rd floor, it definitely was not. Lava popped up for a 4K.
Oh, no.
J Slime died early, but this time he's gonna kill early. Gonna kill his teammate.
Okay, C4 could redeem himself. No, it's going to get caught on the window, and 2 players could have died, but actually they'll be the ones that actually get the kills. Great nade from Subarctic there, using only one of his nades in the process and getting a very nice kill. That is a brutal turn of events for Okami. What looked like it could have been so well. I mean, it could have been so good for them. They're losing a player to a team kill, losing a player to a nade, and the pressure from IF, we're not seeing a full-fledged traditional cocktail execute, but that's where the majority of this attacking pressure has come from. That team kill has really opened things up here for IF quite a bit. They have a lot more opportunities here, and that was the last C4 they just shot out. So no more options in terms of denial in that sense of the plant. Enrio trying to maybe use some of his explosive power from below, but he'll come up with nothing for the time being. With under 45 seconds to go, IF know they've got to get moving, and Giddy, he'll just push up the right stairs. That nade's going to force them to move forward, and Brywell getting 1 kill, can't quite get a second. Now, Lava gets 2, really good, lining him up, but with Subarctic taking down Rice, that will leave Lava alone. 2 players to find, but on this top floor, these post plants can be incredibly grueling, especially if you didn't know Vivid is sitting in the close corner. So, great job from IF there to recover what could have been a messy round. Okami kind of dug themselves into their own hole, unfortunately.
Yeah, that was really unfortunate because J Slime didn't even get the opportunity to bounce back and, prove that he was worth the TK, because then he immediately died. That was tragic. But IF, realizing the opening that had been made for them, were able to swoop in and execute a lot faster. And sure, things could have gone real downhill with that white push. Those 2 players pushing up, I believe it was both Giddy and Arrow. That wouldn't have been good if they both had fallen to the Roni that the Aruni was packing. But hey, everything worked out. They still got the bomb down. They would have had great post plant positions. Vivid even could have hopped out the window and joined Subarctic, who was rotating over from the roof, and had 2 players on rappel. That's not a winnable situation from Lava, who even was trying his best. Would have had to have back-to-back 4Ks on 3rd floor to bring it back home.
Well, we're heading down to kitchen for the first time. That's exciting. No more bar attempts from Okami. Not going to do the double bar like they did with reading just a few rounds prior. So going to kitchen here, I think, is a pretty good play for them, especially considering the potential time waste that they could use to their advantage. But we never know. IF could go a bit more direct. I mean, after all, in that last round, they decided to shake things up finally and get aggressive on those cocktail windows. We could see them go a bit more aggressive towards Big Bakery, but always some amount of pressure needs to be applied towards this top floor. Not necessarily all the way top on the 3rd floor, but the 2nd floor at least. But actually, it's Bry who applies the pressure. He'll go for a beautifully timed run out. Giddy taken care of very early.
Yeah. Giddy has been doing very hit or miss, but this round was definitely a miss. Losing your sledge on any attacks on Cafe is not ideal, but for this direct take, losing nades is massive. Sure, it's not as much as losing the hammer, and other operators can bring nades, but having 6 instead of 4 sometimes can let you get kills as opposed to just getting rid of utility or shields. That can be a little bit more finicky. And more so than anything, just having another gun up on the board. IF, they realize, hey, Sledge dead. That's Giddy. We can kind of peel back. They're not going to be applying vertical pressure. J Slime, he can make these holes his own, just kind of hold and wait as the inevitable direct push is coming through. Sure, some flanks are cut by arrow, but for what? Okami can just bunker.
Yeah. Beta can sit back and wait. Subarctic's out a nade. Giddy is gone. Inrio should have a nade or two, but it's not going to get you very far on this site, especially when you need to establish so much vertical control. Yeah, so Inrio has 2, and IF know their options are extremely limited. So much so that Arrow, he's just going to get the heck out of the lobby. Wants no part in what's likely going to be a troubling execute. And like you said, Connor, Okami can just sit back and relax. They can sit in Whiskey Bar. They can even sit in Coat Check if they'd like. Pretty extended positions. I mean, if you want to go for that full bunker approach, but the only real extended position is J Slime. He'll try to work his way back down the stairs, unable to do so. Inrio will now try to maybe recover something here, but he'll only walk into an SMG-11 from Rice, who lines up a very nice double kill. Subarctic, last player standing. He'll collect 1, but it's all but hopeless at this point. He needs to pull off the impossible, and with all of the Okami players back on their feet, of course, minus the kill that he was able to find, Subarctic doesn't have much of an option here, and even after this round, Okami will hold the edge, and IF will have to get their player back in this lobby.
Yep, poor Arrow. He cannot reconnect, so they're going to have to burn a rehost. Very unfortunate indeed, but Subarctic, he's just waiting for death. And it will come at some point, whether it be from the hand of Bry with the Roni, the P10, or it's another player who's about to swing out of Cocktail Double in just a couple of seconds. And it will be Bry who finally lands those shots, the headshot for the final blow. And that's confirming at least the 3-3 attacking half they've matched up for IF. And Jonah, you said that they were probably going to go to Reading Room.
I was wrong.
They're going
dead wrong.
They're going to Le Bar.
Yeah, so Bar's interesting. I mean, both Reading Room and Bar have gone both ways. Right? Bar and Cocktail, round 1, Okami took it. Bar and Cocktail, round 4, IF took it. Reading, round 2, IF, round 3, Okami. They've split both sides, and apparently Okami feel a little bit more confident about going to Bar, oddly enough, considering more recently that was the site which they lost. So they'll go there now, and what I assume is going to be a little bit more focus placed on the Cocktail side in addition to the existing setup that they have elsewhere. We saw how last time all of that pressure being applied on the Cocktail side was a little bit too much for Okami to handle, so much so they ended up team killing each other and fell to a handful of grenades. So maybe that's why they're back here, because they know that if they don't team kill, they'll have more success.
This is an interesting setup towards a red. I don't think I've ever seen that before in my life. This is a lot of setup downstairs, and I don't know whose brain this came out of, because I know Okami have a lot of support staff. Got like Flacco, Wasp, and Sweet Flips. Shout out to all of them. Maybe this is a player. I don't know. This is a very, very interesting setup. I'm going to say interesting and choose that word very carefully, because if it goes well, then I'll praise it. If it goes horribly, I'm going to flame it.
Well, it's all designed. I mean, this is the easiest bit of analysis you could possibly say.
Yes.
It's all designed to contest vertical pressure, right? They're trying to get as many angles.
Can't drop Red Hatch.
Right, they just can't drop Red Hatch because J-Slime is holding this angle all the way back here. Can actually spot the head of the sledge there. Now, the angle that Rice is holding down below, we actually saw this in our previous series, because Rice can also see Red Hatch through the humidor, through the cigar box, also to Red Hatch, and you can watch people drop. So there's a lot of pressure being applied towards Giddy. They do not want to let them in the building, which if I'm IF, this is screaming, you know what, let's go back to applying pressure Cocktail because that worked. But if you're IF, you see a mini game and you just gotta go for it.
Yep. It's like taking a cat and throwing a ball of yarn and expecting the cat to, just not want to play with it. Nope. IF, they want to solve this. They are going to want to clear out both Rice and J-Slime. That's why we're seeing every single player on IF pretty much droning right now, making sure they can gather all the intel. They want to find out the exact locations of all of the Okami defenders, figuring out what the heck is going on downstairs. Do they have nitros? Do they have just regular players sitting in exposed view? Yes, they do. And that's how lava is going to go down. Another nade might land over towards C2. But no, it doesn't quite connect as Giddy. He's inside the bomb site. They have no idea he is there. And Exo, he's going to go down. Giddy is also going to go for almost 3, but it was only 2. Rice will finish him off. But Enrio, he takes out the last teammate of Rice in Bry. And it's a 4v1.
Yeah, Rice is going to get 1. Good headshot there. Gets 2. He sees the planter, but Subarctic gets perfect coverage. Good job there from him to make sure that that round would be secured. But Connor, we've got to talk about the greatest bait and switch we've ever seen in Siege, and it happened in this round. Okay, maybe that's a bit of an overstatement, but damn, that was nice from IF. As much crap as we gave them for being the cat with the ball of yarn, we did make that comparison for playing into the mini game. What they did right there,
Said screw it. Not
they
doing
said
it
screw
anymore.
it, and they pivoted beautifully. But at the same time, they made sure to entertain said ball of yarn enough to make it feel like there was still a mini game happening. I was trying to stretch that analogy a bit too thin there.
Yeah.
But the point was, Okami, they thought, much like we did initially, that IF were going to go through that mini game and we're going to go through the clear. There were 150 drones all sent down. There were a lot of players, and there was a momentary freeze where everyone from IF looked like they were stunned. And maybe they were. They didn't know how to engage with that odd setup. But then IF made the choice to pivot. And they did all of this before Okami could realize. Brilliantly adapting on the fly, saying, you know what? We know where 2 players are. They're focused so much on red. Let's do the opposite. Heaven repel. Bam. Dropping from the skylight. Bam.
Yep.
Pushing in from stage, window, in piano. Bam. You did it all. They did it perfectly, and they caught Okami off guard. I loved it.
Really well played by IF. As that might have been one of the better IF attacks I've seen in a long time. Because you could see the thought process. Like you were saying, I don't know if we're reading too much into it. They might have just said, dude, we can't drop red. What else can we do? I'm just going to drop skylight. Probably wasn't the play. Give IF the benefit of the doubt that they're a, thought-provoking kind of team. They like to think through things and talk. And they came out on top with a defense that, all things considered, I'm not going to flame for Okami. It was nice to see. It was innovative. It was inventive. It was creative. But just, you got to have a little bit more of a stubborn team than IF to try to break that down. And I'm sure that they've had some good success with it with some teams that don't really know as much of what's going on. But in the meantime, we're going to see a completely different bomb site being played. Actually, never mind. I got my silhouettes wrong. Thought we were downstairs in reading room, but we are back upstairs in cocktail for the IF defense. No Mira on their side. They are not employing the Spaniard. Instead, a whole lot of SMG 11s and actually the Maestro of Arrow to bring the supplemented information game to the playing field, as the playing field is cut into the way of IF. Subarctic taking out J-Slime early on and almost tacks on for 2.
Yeah, nearly took down Exo, who maybe exposed himself a little bit too much on that ticket repel. So he'll back off, maybe hit off to the roof, knowing that you want to keep that Habana alive as long as possible. But always bizarre to see teams with a Mira left up choose to not bring the Mira, but for now, IF, they are still holding this advantage, and they seem to be doing just fine without those black mirrors in play. Subarctic is holding the same position that you might see a Mira in bathroom behind that reinforcement, and even without the intel of the Mira, he's got enough intel from elsewhere. He's got enough gun skill to make his impact found. Inrio gets 1. Perfect smoke from Vivid will finish off Lava, who is already lit up, thanks to, again, Subarctic on that pixel shield and in bathroom. And just like that, even with a full minute to play, it is Rice and Exo in a 2v5 situation, the odds stacked against them.
Yeah, the odds are not stacked in their favor. They're going to have to get aggressive. I don't think a plant is on the cards. It's going to have to be frags, and one is delivered and wrapped in a bow. But instantly traded, that's the cost, as Exo is going to get gassed out by the final Toxic Babe canister of Vivid, leaving just Rice in a 1v4. He can creep up white, but now that that barbed wire is hit, he just rang the dinner bell for the rest of the IF defenders, whether they want to get aggressive or not. That's the other question. Giddy definitely did. It seems like Sabartic over towards Pixel might as well. Flashbangs burning out that direction, but it's going to be Vivid to clean it up. I think a 3K for the Vivito, the Vivid Meister, Mr. Charles. But more than anything, that's the lead reclaimed by IF for the first time in a while.
Yeah, haven't had the lead actually at all in this game. It's been back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and ever since round one, Okami, starting off that pattern, meaning they have held the edge up until this point. And yes, Vivid with a triple kill, 2 of those with Toxic Smokes, 1 of them with the SMG-11 in those closing moments, but an impressive top floor defense and doing it all without the Mira. We would have surely flamed IF for losing that round and not bringing the Mira, but they proved that, hey, even without her, we've got enough gunners, enough strong power positions, and enough information to give us the edge and give us the win. You have the Evil Eyes from the Maestro. That's always a welcome addition. You gotta be burned, gotta have some crazy amount of utility to take them down, and they give you so much intel to work with. And Sabartic was massive, playing on that Pixel shield. But the last round, that's in the past, Connor, and we've got to move on to the present because we've got another interesting tidbit here. We are heading to dining and mining instead of reading.
Interesting. Now the most off sites being played only by IF. We saw them play bar. Now we're seeing them play mining. But mining I feel like is a less outrageous, less egregious mistake to make because it's a similar enough bomb site, except the plants can come just that touch easier if you don't have somebody like a Pulse down below. Pulse all of a sudden goes from being on the first floor, or actually the second floor in this map, goes from being on the second floor trying to kill people on the third to playing on the first floor trying to kill people inside the bomb site because both of them are destructible and are incredibly impactful. Sure, you can still gather up intel early, but I assume that the nitro cells of both Vivid and Giddy can be utilized in the late round, or if they see an absolute freebie, could be utilized earlier on.
Definitely tougher to utilize them in the late round on a bomb site like this because if the attackers do claim control enough to get the bomb actually planted, there's very few positions you can hold as a defender that are safe to actually deny
From down below.
the plant.
You can,
right. Down below is your only option, right? If you are
Yes.
able to work your way around the stairs, which will take quite a trek, either you got to head down the brown stairs, rotate down and head towards Small Bakery that way, or head towards the white stairs because we can see that red is being firmly held by the attack. But those options, we'll have to wait and see exactly how IF want to utilize the nitros on the defense. Right now, the pulse scanner, not about kills, right about intel instead.
Yeah, they're trying to figure out exactly where Okami is pushing from. And surprise, surprise, it's a whole lot of players pushing from red in the cocktail windows. Or pardon me, the piano windows. Exo goes down. That's the Habana. No more breaching to go on. As Giddy's going to throw his nitro up through the floor right into the body of Lava. No more sledge. Giddy, he's going to be finished off. That pulse scanner, that cardiac sensor is no longer going to be in effect. But it already did a whole lot of damage. It netted 2 kills for the IF defense for the cost of just 1 UMP in Inrio. Because the situation's getting dire for Okami, they had a man disadvantage and they're not looking good on time. They've got to start rushing in, and that's going to rush right into Inrio, who does get refragged in a quick enough time by Bry.
Ooh, another UMP, and that one is not going to go so well for Arrow. Bry going to get torn apart here and eventually finished up by Subarctic, not with a UMP, but instead a very formidable weapon, the MX4 Storm. It is all left up to Rice. Everyone knows where he is. He's positioned in pillar. There's Z-pings all over his position. And Vivid and Subarctic, they are extended in different positions and should have no trouble taking care of Rice. That'll be confirmed as he's finally felled by Vivid sitting in train room, and IF, having taken the lead in the previous round, now extend their lead to 2 rounds. Very well played from IF as a whole. And, well, Okami, they started off just not on the right foot. Heading to kitchen and service next downstairs towards the double kitchen site. And, I mean, in terms of this defensive setup, We haven't seen anything crazy unusual other than the site
Nope.
choice from the previous round, and it's been working for them, so why change it up? Head to a typical site, pull out a typical setup. The only non-typical element here might be Vivid pulling out the Legion. Always an odd choice, but sometimes it's just good to have a very good weapon in the hand of a capable fragger.
Yeah, I mean, calling Vivid a fragger is a little bit of a stretch.
Hey, sometimes
A little bit of a
sometimes you
stretch.
gotta do it, you know?
Yeah, sometimes you gotta do it. Maybe
Sometimes you
Vivid's
gotta do it.
he's gotten some life breathed back into his
He's
old
tying for top
ACLs.
frag right now. He's 4-0.
Yeah, he was going crazy last game too, so maybe this is a whole new Vivid. No longer is it the smoke and thermite Vivid that only plays casual. Fun fact, Vivid has not played a ranked game in like 2 years. But he plays like 1,000 casuals per season. It's crazy. Yeah. Vivid's an interesting man. Some might say he's the most interesting man in Siege. But he's on the Legion. Most likely just going to be any audio cues can still be strong, but more than anything, it's that gun and the bulletproof, which if you just need a gun and a bulletproof, bring in Legion. Definitely not horrible because great gun. All right gadget, good secondary gadget. Whatever, intel is king wherever he wants to hold down any extra bit and help those audio cues. Hey, look, they're pushing from this direction. Boom, got a good gun, get a free kill.
Well, with all this setup we've talked about, all the weaponry in the world, IF, they are not going to challenge early and use those great guns, as good as they may be, early in this round. Instead, all 5 defenders will be downstairs on the first floor, and they will be waiting for Okami to make the full clear. Now that Okami know what they're dealing with, they've confirmed everything is clear, they won't have to worry about a flank for now, and they can focus on, well, doing what they do best. As an attacking team, establishing this vertical play. They've done so with a couple of breaching charges now. I mean, you've got Lava in play, who's also going to use that breaching hammer to the best of his ability, as you can see now over in Dining and over in Train. Looking for anybody down below from IF to find out and catch out early.
Yeah, everything's looking right for Okami so far, but with how IF are playing, they're pretty widespread on the horizontal front of the first floor. You've got an extension into Bakery, an extension into Whiskey and Christmas, all those areas that if Okami don't properly read into, can definitely punish out some of the positions of Okami, whether they go for this Bakery rotation or if they go for the hatch drop. Both of these can become deadly really easily, especially when you have capable players like Enrio playing that close proximity with the Toxic Babe Canister, Shotgun, and SMG-11. That's a kit designed to destroy close quarters combat. They're going to have to remove him sooner rather than later. There's only 40 seconds left on the clock, Jonah. Things are about to get hectic, and I'd say about 5-10 seconds.
Yeah, they've got to get going for Okami, and that means that they're about to be a flurry of gunfights, and IF, well, they're about to start to lock down this site as best they can. Everyone still extended, not forced back to the site just yet, and what that means is Okami are in for a hell of a surprise. Arrow gets 1, looks for 2, but can't quite get it, but Subarctic, he's going to line up 2 himself. Exo able to get 1 back as he will take down Arrow as he flees, and Subarctic whiffing a couple of key shots will end up falling, but Giddy and Vivid, they're there to get the trades, and IF will take round 9. Feels like we are delaying the inevitable counter because IF, they show no signs of slowing down, and it is match point with a 3-round lead.
Yeah, the call to rotate towards that Bakery take is one that is going to look a lot worse in hindsight because you're like, oh yes, why are you going to rotate Bakery when you have barely any time because you didn't clear the Bakery extension? They most likely didn't know that there was a Bakery extension, and you could chalk that up to poor drone work early on. But if you know that the Bakery extension is that way, and you have to fight between, hey, we're at a minute, and they're starting to throw the Toxic Babe Canisters, you're going to have a 20 to 30 second window that you could execute on. And maybe even faster if you start rotating down White and applying pressure on both White and Brown stairs at the same time, trying to get a choke, trying to get a crossfire on that Christmas player that was Enrio. But still, after all those points I just made, it's still not a difficult or an easy push by any stretch of the imagination. You got to deal with players in close proximity, like Vivid, who, could just be hip firing with that T5 because its crosshair is so spread and it shoots so fast. Could have been just causing nightmares over towards the hatch drop. But once again, as soon as Arrow popped up, that first frag in the stalemate, towards that last 20 seconds was very, very massive, made it so Okami, they didn't really have any options. They ran out and they were done.
Well, IF, they had a lot of options of where they wanted to play this site. Well, two options. They could have gone back to Bar and Cocktail, a site that they've won, or they could go to Reading and go for something new. They, of course, elected to go for Reading here. Once again, trying to go for these second floor bomb sites that allow a combination of roam play, C4s from above and below, and a good bit of just top floor and a good old-fashioned extension. That is, more likely than not, going to be what Okami have to clear through, unless we see them go for something of a, fireplace hall execute, something of a backside take. They will have to work their way through all the utility placed into that cocktail side. That's something that the Flores would normally be exceptional in helping you deal with. Those shields here in Piano, all the way around in Cocktail, and that is why we see the Flores ban just so often.
Yeah, Flores and Thatcher both fall in the same category for me of utility clear on easy mode. Just no need for burn kind of operators. They just let you bypass all of that. And with that double ban, you're going to have to play right into the heart of the IF defenses that are very rooted in utility and can be very annoying to deal with. Especially with all the mute jammers. There's alibis everywhere for intel. There's shields. And there's a Bri that's downed and about to be finished off through the couches. Unfortunately, he actually gets away. Vivid might come up. There's more pings coming out. He's going to go for the nitro. But he misses. Well, everybody's escaping.
There goes Subarctic. He'll end up getting a kill anyway.
Yeah, he'll still get the kill.
Yeah, Bri is cut down to 1 HP now, and it is just all becoming a very quick mess. There goes Bri. One bullet to the side is more than enough to take him down. Got the pings thanks to these wonderful alibi holograms on the players sitting in Cigar still. You know there's one player on the left side by stage, tucked over by the grandfather clock. And yeah, it's going to be a mess in just a second. But maybe Lava has something to say about that one, Connor. He'll step up, he'll get a kill, but wait a minute, Giddy from below, and J-Slime has no idea. Subarctic still hasn't been forced out. There are only 2 attackers remaining, and it's not good. It's not going so well for them. Hey, Rice gets 1. That's going to take down Giddy, finally finishing him off. The Malusi, who was pesky down below in Train, as Rice will actually step into Train itself in just a moment. But now Subarctic, he's moved downstairs. You've got the rest of this defense on the site itself. Rice now getting torn apart. They know where he's located. Lava is going to have to get in position to support him. He's going to work his way over towards the white stairs, timidly doing so. Doesn't want to get swung on by anyone who hears the barbed wire. But with 25 seconds to go, Lava has the diffuser and needs to get close to his teammate because now Rai has been spotted. He's about to be pre-fired. Now he's dead. It's all up to Lava with 15 seconds and no access to the site. He's got 10 seconds, no HP, and he's got to drop down and go for it. He's going to drop down into Arrow's waiting arms. Or is it Vivid's waiting arms? It simply doesn't matter. It's going to be a kill for IF regardless. It is a 7-3, 7-3, a clean 2-0 win for IF. They'll move on to our decider.